What's up, Wildcats, and welcome to today's episode of The Change Up. I'm your host, Liam Barrett, and this is the long-awaited King Lear episode. Hopefully you've already listened to the episode I published earlier explaining why this was delayed. For those who didn't, there were some complications getting an interview, and then winter break hit, so I decided to pause it until we got back. If you're looking forward to listening to an episode over the break, I apologize, but we are back now. Exciting news! Miss Borelli is back, yay! So I can now use her office to record segments such as these, where I'm not actually interviewing someone. Up until this point, I've just been recording it at home, and there's been a gap in quality, as you know if you've been listening for a while, but now that I have access to the room, hopefully I can record these sections there and have the same audio quality whole way through. So, we're getting better, we're improving. This is the second episode of the one-on-one series, and I say this every episode, but I want you guys to let me know whether or not you like this style episode, so I can plan for future episodes accordingly. Remember, all you have to do is visit my Instagram at the WJ Changeup, click on the link in the bio, click on the review Google form link, and then just fill it out. Thank you very much to the 2 anonymous reviewers, because that's all I have so far. And without further ado, let's get right into it. Please enjoy. For today's episode, I'm interviewing the emo extraordinaire Cody Herwald, a veteran member of WJ's stage, and a crew and cast member in King Lear. Would you mind saying a bit about yourself?
I'm Cody. I have been doing stage for about a year, but I've been doing stage further in theater, further in schools. I started when I was maybe in 4th grade, and it just kind of continued since then.
All right. So, as all you listeners likely know, Stage just wrapped up their showing of King Lear, or at least they were when I originally planned to record this, and now it's several weeks ago, but let's pretend they just wrapped it up. It's one of Shakespeare's most famous tragedies, and could you give me the Cliff Notes summary of just how it goes?
So this is going to be a very great summary, I assure you. Basically, there's this king, he has 3 daughters, and the beginning of the show starts with this king, and he goes, "Hey, I want you all to tell me how much you love me. Do you love me?" And so the first 2 are like, "Oh my god, we love you so much. We love you more than our husbands, more than anything on this world. Oh my god." And then the last one is like, "Yo, I love you, but I love my husband too. I can love other things." And he goes, "No, you're terrible for that. Leave." And that splits the kingdom. And so now everyone's panicking, "Yo, we just lost 1/3 of the kingdom. Who's gonna follow her? What's going on?" But then enters in 2 other characters. One is Gloucester, which is such a name. And then he has 2 sons. One is his, for real son, and the other one we call the bastard, because illegitimate child.
For real son.
Sorry, yeah. And so those 2 sons are, throwing hands the entire show. There's never a moment where they get along. And the illegitimate one is like, "Yo, you're not better than me. I'm gonna kill you, and I'm gonna frame you for trying to murder our dad." And he's like, "Nah." And then they fight for the rest of the show. The king leaves, gets kicked out of the kingdom because he's not king anymore. And he goes to his daughters. It's I don't remember that little kid's, with the big bad wolf, He goes to all the houses.
Little Red Riding Hood? What?
No, with the pigs.
The big bad wolf?
The big bad wolf, right? Okay, where he goes up to the houses and he's like, "Yo, let me in."
Huff and puff him and blow him down?
Yeah. So the king basically does that, and then all of them are like, "No, you're crazy. We hate you. Everything that we said about you, we lied." They kick him out. He finds the one that he kicked out, and she's like, "Oh my god, my father, I love you." And they be crazy in the woods together. Gloucester tries to help the king, is a traitor, gets his eyes gouged out, and then that leads to a whole thing. And then basically they all die in the end. That's the summary.
Happy
read
ending.
It if you want.
Yippee. Yeah. Did you have to read the full thing? Did you read the original Shakespearean version? Or?
When I tell you that I have seen that script more than I've seen my own house or my room or my mom in those few months, I oh my god. We had to read the modern version, which was really nice. I understood it. Then we went to Shakespeare. Then we went back to the modern version. Then we went back to Shakespeare. And we just kept going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I hated it. I hate Shakespeare. But hey, it was still a fun play.
So, yeah, the play itself, I went. It was awesome. But the fun stuff is behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And they're when I wrote the script, I was like, oh, there should be a pitch article about King Lear coming out pretty soon. That was published like last episode. That's before Christmas break. But I want to hear some stuff that the interview didn't mention. And for a start, you guys were putting in, actually the interview did mention this, but you guys were putting in some crazy hours for the play. Can you tell me sort of what that consisted of? Inhale of pain.
Yeah, like for anyone watching, I'm just glaring at Liam Barrett as he asks this question. So, we have school. We wake up. I wake up around 6. I get ready. I pack my bag. I go to school. I do all my classes. 2:30, we're on call. And, at first it started off fine. It was like 2 to 4. Then it's 2 to 6, 2 to 7, 2 to 8. And eventually we're up till 2 to 9. Now, because we kind of fell behind with like the carpentry building set, which love carpentry, just throwing it out there. But I basically had to stay till 10 for like 2 weeks before tech week. So I was just like, and we don't get like an excuse. So we're staying till 10 just to wake up the next morning and go back to school. And the teachers are like, well, why didn't you do your homework? And I'm like, well, I tried. I tried when I was trying not to saw my hand in half,
And over the weekends, you guys also had it got worse over the weekends, right?
Yeah. Then, thankfully, we got to sleep in sometimes. But,
you were allowed to sleep in.
We were allowed to sleep.
Permitted you to sleep in.
Oh, we were allowed to sleep. It was beautiful. I'm telling you, it was the best thing I've ever had. But yeah, no, it started going really late, both weekends, to the point where for 3 weeks leading up to the show, I didn't have a weekend. I was just always at this school. So it was really great. I loved it. Yay.
And beyond just time, you guys literally put blood, sweat, and tears into King Lear. And you got an awful lot of injuries from it, right? Can you tell me a bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So I, for one, just I work in a few different crews. So cast, there's not that many injuries besides bruises or just falling down, because we're kind of stupid and we kind of just like to fall and jump off of shit that we shouldn't be jumping off of, Shenanigans. Yeah, that's a better word for it. Love cast. This isn't me saying bad things.
I appreciate that. I
censored myself.
Yep.
I'm great. Okay. But crew, bless their hearts, we don't have, although we really have to be safe depending on what we're working on, I have gotten so many injuries in crew. It's not even real. So, props, I got so many burns. We've had a lot of incidences with box cutters cutting people open and then just bleeding everywhere, which is terrible. And so after, props, I started helping out with carpentry because they needed extra help. When I tell you, I've spent hours plucking out, the biggest splinters from my hand. It's terrible. We've gotten other injuries, when you're working with drills and saws, you got to be really careful. And so carpentry is actually the crew that gets the least amount of injuries because you really can't afford to make a mistake when you're working with a table saw. But, the amount of, I'd come up to someone and I'm like, hey, what's going on? They're like, oh, bleeding from the leg, puncture wound. I'm like, oh, great. And so, I started bringing in, first aid kits, because the first aid kit in carpentry, if you open it up, it's like a tissue and, maybe, a Band-Aid that's already been opened. I scold them for their first aid kit. It's terrible.
Is there a lot of supervision, or is it kind of oh, we got a table saw, let's go at it?
So, there's a good amount of supervision, but, you also have to understand, we have very limited people, adults. Enough where it's safe. Enough where, nothing bad could seriously happen. If someone actually got injured, they'd be there in seconds, So nothing, a safety concern. But, we cannot have one adult watching over us 24/7. We're gonna do stuff that gets us injured, and we're not gonna tell people about it, despite the fact that we should. Because, if you got cut with a saw, yeah, we should probably tell someone. But the moments where you've, scraped, the skin off your knee, and it's, bleeding, we're not really gonna say anything. Because, they can do as much about it as we can do. So,
And you get a battle scar.
Yeah.
So I kind of have to ask about bloopers. Can you tell me about some stage secrets and mistakes that didn't make it into the pitch article?
I can, but I first of all, disclaimer, this is not against anyone in cast. We all make bloopers. It is a very normal thing, and I guarantee you none of the audience knew about it. Or maybe they did, you know? Hey. But shut up. You didn't know about it, okay?
Not a word.
Yeah, not a word. You don't know about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I know a few of mine, for one, is I was playing, like, a knight. And so in the background, because the knights are filled with, like, lust and stuff, they wanted us to be flirty or maybe, like, just kind of goofing off. So we were really just allowed to improv on stage whenever we wanted. So me and this other girl, which I love her, I'm going to keep her anonymous, though, because I don't want to, like, start spilling names onto a podcast. But we both had, like, a sword fighting scene together. So we just randomly one night, like, I don't know, 5 minutes before we were about to go on, we just came up with something and just started improvising with it. And then we decided, hey, wouldn't it be so funny if you started, like, kicking your leg up on me and we, like, blew a kiss to the audience? Yeah.
Sorry, keep going.
I'm sure you saw.
I saw it twice.
Yeah.
I thought that was choreographed. I thought that was, like, planned.
Nope. We just started, like, we just improv'd everything. Everything on that stage, we just kind of, like, looked at each other and we're like, mm-hmm.
Sorry to cut in here. When we were initially recording, some kid dragged his backpack against the window of the media center conference room, and it messed up the audio. So it's going to be a bit of a jump here. Sorry.
I played the old man, and so I have, like, for the old man thing, I have my makeup, and I have, like, a bald cap, then I have a wig that goes over this bald cap. So it's very, like, weird looking, but, like, on stage, it looks fine. Except the fact that I'm doing bows, and I come to the sudden realization that I didn't bobby pin my wig, which means this wig is nothing more than a loose baseball cap on my head. So I'm doing bows, I finish it, I can feel it slipping, and just slipping as I'm doing bows, and I'm just, like, crossing my fingers, like, please don't fall, please don't fall, please don't fall, I cannot do this, not now. We get to go, lights didn't turn off, but we, like, exited the stage, and I ripped it off of my head and, like, walked down just for our ASM, which is, like, people on the side that, like, notify you when to go, to grab me and go, hey, you're in sight lines. The audience could see that. And I just ran, you know? Like, what else was I gonna do? Apologize? Put it back on? It's too late. People just saw me get bald in, like, 5 seconds, you know?
I mean, you were an old person. They're probably going to be wearing a wig anyway.
Yeah, but, like, there's so many moments like that where you'll be backstage and you'll be, like, goofing off. We're supposed to be professional. We all goof off, okay? Like, I've done it. I've seen multiple other people do it. As long as you're not, like, interrupting, being loud, it's fine. We've played rock, paper, scissors. It's fine. But I remember during intermission, I was with someone, and I had to help lead him across stage because he was blinded. He couldn't see anything.
Poor Gloucester.
Poor Gloucester, yeah. He couldn't see anything, so I had to, like, guide him. So we're backstage, and he's talking to a few people, and I had to, like, hold him, and I had to, like, direct him. I was like, oh, over there, that's this person. Over there, that's this person. And a person walks past him, and he starts trying to engage in conversation with them. So, like, he's just talking and talking. This person's already gone. He's talking. He's asking them questions, and then he's like, oh, why are they not responding? And I didn't really have the heart to tell him that he'd been talking to nobody for, like, 2 minutes. So I just didn't say anything, and I turned him around. So it was great. We also have a few, like, nothing too big happened on stage. Besides, like, a few costume malfunctions.
Such as? Hold on, you can't just say, oh, besides blank, and move on.
Right. So Cordelia wears a dress, and that dress has a slit in it, which not a lot of people realize because, you know, just nobody's really paying attention. But it's very noticeable if you're laying down. So she had tights on, thank God, and she had shorts underneath. King Lear is, like, dragging and laying her body down, and he's crying, he's mourning, like, oh my God, not my daughter, please, anything but my daughter, please don't take my daughter. She's dead, you know, and he's mourning. As he's mourning over her, he accidentally, like, pulled up her dress, revealing, like, her entire leg, and the audience saw it all. And so, like, we couldn't do anything about that. Like, we can't just break character and go, like, pull this corpse dress back down. Like, what are we supposed to do? So we just had to stand there. And this happened 2 nights.
Seriously. Mm-hmm. I remember seeing it once and being like, I'm seriously impressed the actor refrained from like, oh, corpse hand just twitch, oh, rigor mortis.
Yep.
Dress came down. We're good.
I like shout out to all the people that played corpses because like you have to let people like move you and you cannot move. Like I've played corpses before, which is
shocking.
You think okay.
Shocking.
Okay.
Just for the listener, he's wearing a big skull, black pants, black sweater, presumably black shirt, but big skull on it.
Hang on, wait. It gets better.
Oh,
I have a skull shirt
more
underneath.
skulls.
Yeah, so I'm very emo, and I'm wearing a bunch of dead stuff, in case anyone's wondering. But
Liam here, really quickly. See, I introduced him as emo extraordinaire at the start for a reason. That was justified. Sorry, I just want to say that.
like, you think it's gonna be a lame role playing a corpse, because, like, who wants to lay on a stage? But then you start realizing, like, how difficult that mindset gets to just be frozen and not to move, because then everything starts itching, and you start twitching, and you're just trying not to move. It's terrible. So shout out to them. What else has happened? We have blood packets in the stage.
Gloucester's eyes weren't actually ripped out. I'm sorry to spoil it, guys.
We didn't do any real gore. Also, I was trying to tell people, like, hey, please don't bring your children to this show. Like, I don't want to see anyone underneath 12 or 13 in this show. I'm going on stage. I lock eyes with, like, a 7-year-old. And I'm just like, oh, boy, you're going to have a fun time tonight. But anyways, we have blood packets. And so they're carefully hidden within characters' costumes to, like, make it seem like they're bleeding. We had a malfunction with a blood packet where one character was dying, got stabbed. Their blood packet was in their back pocket, and so they couldn't, like, get it. So we just saw them, like, squirming around trying to reach into their back pocket, which, pardon my French, kind of just made it look like he was just smacking his ass a bunch of times. He got the blood packet, aggressively popped it onto his side.
Was that Elias?
I will not confirm nor deny names. All right. But it was great. We all like to poke fun at each other. It was still great acting. Loved it all.
And there was, about other bloopers, wasn't someone hit in the head with a saw? Like,
so
what a phrase, but wasn't he whacked in the head with a saw?
So it was just like, we goof off in carpentry. We shouldn't, but we do. We found, like, we were going through storage. We found this little, like, saw blade, and
Tell me you didn't play Frisbee with it, please.
No, we did not. We're so safe in stage. We're so safe. I kind of promise. But we see the saw blade, and one of the crew chiefs goes to pick it up, still remaining anonymous, and another person, like, bends down at the moment that he was picking it up, and I just hear this little bonk, and I turn around, and they're just staring at each other, saw blade in hand, and I was like, what just happened? And they go, oh, I just hit this guy in the head with a saw. No blood, nothing, but I just remember seeing it and being like, wow, we would really not survive, like, anywhere else in the world.
And beyond attempting to freaking kill someone by whacking them with a saw blade, do you guys have any traditions that, for example, the entirety of stage might do before opening night?
So yeah, a lot of things that a lot of people don't know is we have two things. We have one thing called a black room and green room. So black room is for crew, where we all go into this dark room. It's very scary. We have a little fake campfire that we plug into an outlet and it starts spinning. It's very pretty. So we all stand there, we all get in a circle, we hold hands, and tradition is to go around and you either share your favorite memory or you share, like, just a funny thing that happened on stage. It's a good, enjoyable thing. We all draw X's on each other's hands. Or, like, a little note. So I've seen, like, a lot of people walk around. If you ever see, like, someone with a big X and, like, a little smiley face, they've probably been on stage. But for green room, it's...
They're a member of the cult.
Yeah, a member of the cult. It's definitely cultish. You can say, like, no, it's just a club. It's a cult. It's a cult.
See, I've been saying this, and you've been saying, no, it's not a cult. No, it's just like a fun after-school thing.
Well, hey,
no.
now that I can speak my truth, no, it's a cult. That's a joke, please. But green room is when cast all gets in this room, and we normally just, like, I don't even know how to explain it. Dance? ? Like,
You have cult rituals, in
yeah,
other words.
we just shake it a little. You know, we gotta shake out the nerves, and then we just scream, and then we then we all get up and we get into our characters, and then we go out on stage. It's great.
As one does.
As one does.
So stage might be a cult, but I've heard it's a pretty inclusive one. Would you say it's like a welcoming environment? Like you can just show up and not just show up, but
Yeah. Very. It is a very welcoming community. Like, my best friends are all in stage. And if they're not, they come out and help out with stage every once in a while. Like, I've met so many great people in stage. I love them all so very much. It is very welcoming. Like, when I moved here, no friends, you know? I just moved here from a state. I didn't have middle school, like, friends to come back to. So I just joined stage, and I had, like, 10 friends in a day.
the rest was history.
And the rest was history.
And what would you say to someone considering joining stage? For example, considering auditioning for Les Mis.
Les Mis. I love how you didn't pronounce
I
it. Pronounce it
refrained from
fancy.
saying miserable.
Blech.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, but yes, Les Mis. Feel free to audition, but like, I'm not gonna just tell you, oh, it's so easy, it's great. You will cry. You will regret signing up multiple times. You will cry about the hours. You will not sleep. You will not eat. Like, you have to understand that there are a lot of things that go into stage. It's not a very easy, like, well, maybe. You have to sign contracts. You have to follow those contracts. Like, you can get kicked out of shows. Like, you have to be seriously committed. Other than that, if you read all that and you go, yeah, I'm okay with not sleeping. I'm a teenager. I don't sleep anyways. Join. It's great. You're going to have a lot of fun. Even if you go, I don't really like being on stage. You'll like it. As soon as people start clapping and you get to break character, it is one of the best feelings that you will ever feel in your life.
Are those contracts you mentioned signed in blood, promising your soul over? Like,
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah. The contracts that we sign are like, don't cut your hair. Don't paint your nails. Don't put on makeup. Agree to sign and show up to these exact dates or else. So, yeah, signed in blood.
Cool. All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
As always, please feel free to let me know what you thought about the episode with the review Google form in my Instagram bio, where you can also give suggestions for future episodes. Alternatively, you can DM me on Instagram at the WJ Changeup. Thank you very much for listening, and until next time, see ya. Thank you, Cody Herwald, for agreeing to be interviewed, and a huge thanks to the WJ Pep Band for composing the introduction song. As always, thank you, Miss Gelfand, for letting me use the Media Center conference room to record.